I became a hemp farmer. It was just by fate, really. Ran into David, and we just kind of just fell into my lap. Hadn't really something that I planned on doing, but it's something that I'm doing now, and I like doing it. For me, it's just the constant care of the plants, making sure they're cared for. There's no bugs in them. Make sure there's nothing like funguses. They can be overwatered or underwatered, so there's a lot of varieties. But as far as me, it's just taking care of the plants is just the main thing around here. We don't use any kind of chemicals or any kind of we use all natural fertilizers. So one of the tasks that I do is make sure we have that fertilizer, and we utilize that with rabbits. Sometimes we use cow and stuff like that, and then we'll lay it out, make sure it's dried, make sure it's to the standard before. I think it takes a good 3-4 months for that stuff to finally settle down. You can't just use it as a poop product, so you got to kind of turn it into a fertilizer, and then that's kind of what I'll do in the mornings a lot of the times, is make sure some of that stuff is set up. In the beginnings, I'll come in and we'll take care of our dog business, and where I'll make sure the dogs are cared for, make sure they're cleaned and stuff, and then I'll go into taking care of the plants, make sure they're first check to see if they're all how their water levels are, make sure there's no bugs, funguses, and then from there I'll go check the other animals, which makes our feed or fertilizer. Yeah, I'll just make sure everything's kind of set, and then we can go on for that new task for the day, because there's always something different in it for us. One day we could be trimming, one day we're just moving plants, one day we're making a new room for plants. From that first set of day is always same for me, because all that beginning stuff needs to be done. So either way, that stuff will get done, and then we get into our new task, what's set up for the day. Struggles, like I said, the funguses. That's why every day we got to check the water, because the water could also cause more fungus if it's overwatered that previous day, or you got bugs that'll come in overnight. We check it the day before, and there'll be a mess ton of bugs we have to deal with. There's also just making sure everything's taken care of, for the most part, for me. And the funguses is the hardest part, is to make sure. You gotta individually check each plant, make sure and look at it. Usually if it's on one plant, it's kind of moved to another plant around it. So you'll know if you see it on one plant, you gotta check that whole lot. But if you go in, you can check the majority of them, and you can kind of see by looking at them. I think we serve our community best with the different type of products we have. I've seen it at hand on a lot of the animals that he has here. That there's a couple horses that we have that were close to death. They weren't even wanting to move, and I seen him giving some of the product that he uses, and you can see these horses to this day. They're happy horses. They do their normal. They run around. That was stuff that they wouldn't even get off the ground for. And much less, that's the same thing for humans, I'm sure. It's what starts the whole thing. So like, if you catch it in that initial phase before it has turned to one or the other, it's more of a pure thing. So you end up getting something that you could actually use. It's more individualized to what you want it to be used for, instead of kind of doing something, because CBD, sometimes you can use it and it's used for this, and this. The CBG is kind of, you can trace it down to use for a particular thing, like a migraine or something like that. Because a lot of times you use CBD and it'll help for multiple things, but not really help for a particular thing. It's just more pure, I think. I mean, I'm not as knowledgeable as I said in that, but I know it's a little bit more pure, and it's harder to actually get that. It was more of a science thing that was, because it's caught in that initial phase. That's why everybody went to CBD or THC, because it was so easy, because that's where it turns into. If you could stop it at that first phase and then turn it into something that you need, it's a lot more special, I would think. But probably when I'm only working here, probably about maybe 3 or 4 months or something like that. Not long. Here it's more wholesome, it's because you are working for a family. They appreciate you more, take care of you more, and it's more of a family deal. I feel like I'm kind of part of their family at this point. So to me, that's why I love working here the most, is because of the farm life / being a part of that.